Hello, I'm Jay Hilliard, a plant counselor with Friends Life Care. This is another in our series of Retirement Confidential short videos. Today's subject matter is the application process for Friends Life Care. We thought it might be useful for people to take away a little anxiety about filling out an application for Friends Life Care and what's involved with that process. First of all, applying for Friends Life Care, there is no obligation to buy a plan with Friends Life Care. You're just finding out by going through the underwriting, do you qualify and what level of health are you as far as the qualifications, and that can affect the actual annual fee. And we'll talk about that as we go through this a little bit. But the actual information that's on the application. Obviously, we need the person's name and your address, your telephone number, your email. Date of birth is very important because age is a factor in determining your annual fee. The age has, the sooner someone joins, the less expensive it is. So the calculation of the annual fee, part of it is the age you are when you start the plan. Um, so that's an important factor in thinking about. We allow people as young as 40 years old up until your 85th birthday to apply for Friends Life Care. After that information, there's a series of yes or no health questions with different health categories, different conditions, and it's basically yes or no. Have you had any of these conditions? Um, there's also a question about hospital stays within the last 5 years, and they're basically overnight stays, not outpatient stays, things like that. Um, any conditions that you might have that aren't specifically listed, there's a box for that where you can put in some things that if it wasn't listed in the list of conditions, you can add that also. There is a list to or a box to put in your medications. And what we mean by medications are prescription meds. You do not have to put in aspirin, you don't have to put in vitamins, but if you take a prescription med, we want to know the milligrams that you take, how often you take it, and the reason that you take it. After that, there's a section where you put in the name of your primary care doctor, the address, and the phone number. Um, That's very important because part of this at the end of the application is a form that's called a HIPAA privacy release form. On that form, you also put in your primary doctor's name, address, and phone number, and you sign that form. That allows us to get the medical information from your primary care doctor. Underwriting takes typically 4 to 6 weeks, period. And a lot of that is the underwriting organization gathering that information from people's primary care doctor. During the underwriting period, there is a mini mental cognitive screening test that everyone does. For people under the age of 70, it's over the phone. For people over the age of 70, it can be in person. If it has to be over the phone, they can do that. But over 70, they like to do in person cognitive screening. Um, so that's a sort of a check on, it's not just what you're putting on the application, but we're also getting your medical records. There's a box that includes activities. We like to know how active people are. Do you work out? Do you exercise on a regular basis? Do you do gardening? Do you do things like social activities, clubs, things like that? There's a few financial questions that we ask as far as mortgage balances and assets and things like that. Just a couple of questions on financial. There's a $100 deposit that goes in with an application. which is fully refundable. Remember, this is not an obligation to buy anything. When you meet with a plan counselor, we're going to give you a copy of the contract for Friends Life Care, a copy of our disclosure statement, our financial statement. So it gives people that 4 to 6 week period while the underwriting is going on to do your due diligence, to talk this over with your family, to talk to your financial advisor if that's what you need to do. Whatever it is to make yourself comfortable in the decision you're making. You're not picking the plan benefits until after the underwriting's done. The plan counselor will give you a complete listing of every single option that you have at your age category. And you have that underwriting period to talk it over with your plan counselor to really come up with a plan that best fits you. Um, so it's one plan does not fit all. There's a lot that goes into that decision, and that's why it's helpful to start the underwriting process and give yourself that period of time to really evaluate and make sure that you're picking the plan that best fits your needs. If you decide not to go forward with Friends Life Care, we refund you that $100 deposit. If someone does not make it through the underwriting, we do refund the deposit. Just a couple of things on the underwriting process. As long as someone might have done long-term care insurance underwriting, the restrictions there are a little bit more stringent. Ours are as long as you are not needing care now, and as long as you haven't been diagnosed with a cognitive impairment, I would recommend anyone to go ahead and do the application just to see if we might have a plan for you. We have all different types of plans that can accommodate a lot of medical conditions that traditional long-term care insurance is a decline for. So I would encourage you to apply. Your plan counselor can also help you in determining whether it's a good idea to go ahead and do that. Just as a review a little bit, so that price that you're going to pay for your annual fee is based on your age. So the sooner you start the application, the better. Your health status, as soon as we get that underwriting portion, uh, um, as long as we get that information, then we can determine the annual fee. And then the third factor that goes into the price is the exact plan that you pick. Um, so I hope this information has helped people with thinking about and looking at the application process with Friends Life Care. We're going to give you a couple contact information here, our email and also a phone number. Here's some on this screen here. You can contact us in that way. A consult is really an excellent way to get a good feel about approximately the pricing and also what's involved with the underwriting process. Thank you very much for your time. There is a link here on this screen to our other videos in the Retirement Confidential series. And I hope this has been a helpful tool in your thought process and your decision making as far as is Friends Life Care's plan a plan that you might be interested in. Thanks very much for your time.